Well, it appears that we have found the hider, the shadow man, shall we say, behind the Brexit scenario, and this comes from Vox Politica online, and this is Grove is hiding all the harm we'll all suffer after Brexit. So here is a typical double standard from Michael Don't Trust Experts Grove. He's broadcasting the predicted boost to the economy of a future trade deal with the United States of just 0.16%. But he's refusing to admit that the current trade deal with the EU countries is gone because of Brexit, which means a loss of 5.2% GDP over 15 years. And if that's a typical free trade, that's if a typical free trade agreement is struck. It's all part of the Tory Brexiteer bid to make us to make fools of the general public. They think that we're so stupid that if they don't tell us about the harm their policies are causing, we won't notice. Are they right? The economic cost of Brexit was laid bare on Wednesday by Britain's official budget watchdog, which warned that leaving the EU would hit growth, exports, and the public finances at a time of rising uncertainty. Amid the backdrop of the coronavirus and slowing global growth, the Office of Budget Responsibility modelled for a 5% loss of GDP over 15 years if a typical free trade agreement was struck. The watchdog said that Britain had already lost 2% of potential output since the 2016 Leave vote, with a further 3.2% to come, blaming the rise of trade friction and restrictions on migration and red tape. The warning came as Michael Gove and the Cabinet Office Minister revealed that the government would not publish its own economic impact assessment of the Canada-style trade deal that Britain hopes to strike with the EU. Michael Gove told MPs he was, quote, sceptical about the economic impact assessments, even though the government has just published a detailed 60-page document setting out the possible economic advantages of a trade deal with the US. We are taking a different approach with the EU, Mr Grove told the House of Commons committee examining the Johnson's government of handling post-Brexit negotiations. The report also warned that Prime Minister Boris Johnson's new migration scheme, which aims to halt the inflow of low-skilled EU labour, will force up Britain's borrowing costs by about $1 billion a year in about 2042. So, already, the economic costs of Brexit are hitting us. They are there for all to see, and to be honest, the coronavirus panic, epidemic, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, is going to push us even further in, because I imagine it's very much on the cards like it's going to cause a global recession. However, when recovery takes place, there's going to be a certain country not recovering as fast or even at all because of the losses caused by Brexit. And as a result, as we've said all this time, it doesn't matter. The damage is going to be there for everyone and all to see. And this is jobs, money that we can be spending on public services. All this stuff is gone. And here's the thing. With the recent budget, bear in mind that the new Chancellor of the Exchequer has borrowed more money, which right-wing papers, according to them, would say that Jeremy Corbyn would have bankrupted the nation. So how come Sajid Javid is the golden child and, you know, Mr. Investor, but the Corbyn plan, which was, yes, to borrow more money, but was at least twice, if not three times, all that money investing going into the UK itself. Just once again, it goes to show you austerity for the Tories was not a necessity. It was their choice. The austerity is what is causing the most harm to Britons today. You are getting Boris Johnson dragging his feet on all the protections for self-employed people, people in employment themselves, for the virus outbreak. People are going to start face real problems, and the good thing is that all their anger is going to be pointed directly at Boris Johnson. And it won't take people long to figure out, well, hang on, there's more damage not only being done by the pandemic, but by Brexit itself. And you could say that it's just become a complete perfect storm, and once again, we're showing why the Tories should never, ever be allowed to run a government. They just can't do it. They are completely incompetent. Boris Johnson, throughout all this, has shown nothing but complete and utter incompetence. And it's just absolutely staggering that this guy's being allowed to become Prime Minister. I said it in a video a couple of weeks back. I don't think Boris will survive his term in office. I think that he will be booted out long before then.